Grit, delayed gratification, perseverance, hard work, self-control. These words became like a mantra to me. I pushed myself relentlessly, determined to overcome any challenge no matter how difficult. And I was absolutely right. Unsurprisingly, my efforts got me a ton of results. But inevitably, this all led me to ask myself another question. What if hard work didn't have to feel so hard? What if you could do what others find difficult with ease and without constantly relying on sheer willpower? Just how much could you achieve if hard work wasn't hard, but if it was easy instead? Meet Bob. Bob was ambitious and hardworking, convinced that discipline and effort were the keys to success. He poured himself into his corporate sales job, believing that persistence alone would lead to professional and financial achievements. Yet, despite his tireless efforts, Bob felt drained and uninspired. While his colleagues thrived, he struggled, which only worsened his frustration. Even when giving his all, he felt like he was falling behind. Still, he reassured himself that it would all be worth it once he became successful. Then, after another exhausting work week, Bob took a step back to reflect. He realized that the aspects of his job he enjoyed the most weren't the sales pitches or negotiations. Those drained him. Instead, he found excitement in the analytical work behind the scenes, identifying customer behavior patterns, optimizing sales strategies, and creating detailed reports. Bob loved solving complex problems, but he had been ignoring this interest in favor of pushing himself into a role he thought he should excel at rather than the one he was naturally suited for. He pursued sales because he believed it would bring him more money and prestige, but deep down he knew he was forcing himself into a mold that didn't fit. Hard work will get you far in life, no doubt about that. However, it took me a while to realize that hard work wasn't everything, it was just one piece of the puzzle. Success isn't solely determined by discipline. What sets high achievers apart is their ability to align their efforts with their natural strengths. Think about people who give it their all yet achieve only mediocre results. Yes, they're working hard, but they might be working hard on the wrong thing. Then consider those who seem to excel effortlessly, as if everything just falls into place for them. More often than not, they're playing into their strengths. Bob's colleagues were mostly extroverts who thrived in high-pressure social situations, had a high tolerance for stress, and loved competition. Bob, on the other hand, was introverted, preferred a calm workspace, and found talking to new people anxiety-inducing. His current job simply wasn't a good fit for him. Once Bob had recognized his true strengths, he decided to make a change. He transitioned from sales to a data analysis position within the same company. Almost immediately, he felt more engaged and his productivity skyrocketed. Unlike before, work no longer felt like an uphill battle. It felt natural. It became easy. And that shift only happened when Bob stopped forcing himself to be someone he wasn't and started following his strengths. When you understand and acknowledge what you're good at, you can accomplish more with less effort and greater satisfaction. High achievers aren't necessarily those who work the hardest, but those who work in alignment with their natural abilities. Think back to school, where you were graded on every subject: history, math, geography, biology, physics, and more. Without a doubt, some subjects came easily to you, while others felt like a struggle. Yet you were graded on all of them just the same. Now imagine if you were graded only on the subjects you excelled at, the ones that felt natural and effortless. That's exactly what you should aim for in life. Unlike school, where you have no choice in the subjects you're evaluated on, in life you can decide what you're quote-unquote graded on. So make sure you're graded on your strengths, not your weaknesses. When you follow your natural tendencies, you achieve better results with less effort. Improvement happens organically rather than by force. When people notice your strengths, they offer praise, which motivates you to keep going. You seek feedback and refine your skills. This creates a self-sustaining loop. You perform well with minimal struggle, others recognize and appreciate your work, encouragement inspires you to continue, repetition makes you exceptional, the cycle repeats, leading to mastery. By continuously reinforcing what you're naturally good at, you set yourself on a path to becoming outstanding in your field. But many people overlook their natural abilities because they assume strengths must be extraordinary, highly specialized, or world-class from the start. Others only recognize tangible skills like technical expertise, creativity, or problem-solving and ignore everything else. In reality, strengths can be found in everyday behaviors, personality traits, and thought patterns. Having patience or being observant, being honest, genuine, and authentic, competitiveness, stubbornness, and resilience, curiosity and adaptability, being organized, or planning well. Depending on the situation, these qualities can be just as, if not more valuable than traditional skills. So, how can you identify your strengths? The easiest way is by paying attention to what energizes and excites you. Activities that engage you most are often aligned with your natural abilities. If something feels effortless and enjoyable, it's probably a strength. But don't just focus on what interests you, ask yourself why something interests you in the first place. Self-awareness is key to uncovering both strengths and weaknesses. Now, if self-reflection isn't your strong suit, ask friends or family for input. Others often recognize patterns you might overlook. And lastly, trying different tasks and experimenting with different roles can help you refine your understanding of where you thrive. For example, Bob only discovered his strengths after stepping into a sales role. Without trying, he wouldn't have realized it wasn't the right fit, or that data analysis was his strong suit. It should also be noted that what some might consider a weakness can actually be a strength in the right context. Overthinking may lead to indecision, but it also means you can analyze problems from multiple angles, an asset in law, engineering, or finance. Impulsivity may cause recklessness, but in fast-paced environments like entrepreneurship or emergency response, quick thinking is invaluable. Anxiety can be draining, but it helps people foresee risks and plan effectively, making them excellent in project management or crisis response. Perfectionism can slow down progress, but in fields like design, research, or medicine, attention to detail is crucial. In other words, it all depends on the context in which the skills are applied. Certain weaknesses can be strengths in different areas, and vice versa. The key is to be aware of your traits and put yourself into an environment where they work for you, not against you. So does all of this mean that hard work and discipline are useless? Not at all. In fact, discipline and perseverance are strengths in themselves. They can take you incredibly far. But when combined with your natural inclinations and interests, they can take you even further. Work doesn't have to feel like a chore. When aligned with your strengths, it becomes an opportunity for growth and excellence. Over time, someone who enjoys what they do will always outperform someone who is merely forcing themselves through it. So take some time to reflect. Write down your strengths and weaknesses. Identify areas where those traits shine. And finally, make sure you're graded on your strengths. Thanks for watching.